Hey guys, welcome and welcome back to the channel. As you as you can see by the title, in today's video we will be talking about annoying things African parents do. And they do a lot of annoying things. So make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below other annoying things that African parents do. But without further ado, let's get into the video. First annoying thing that African parents do is scolding you in public. What this is when they embarrass you or yell at you in public. So, an example would be you're walking in the store and you pick something up and you're like, "Hey mom, isn't this really nice?" And she's like, "You always think I have money for this. I don't have money for this. Why are you always doing this? You try to embarrass me in public." And you're like, okay, but by yelling at me, you're embarrassing yourself. Like, all I said was, "Is this pretty?" And now you're twisting my words and making it sound like I wanted to buy it when all I said is that it's really pretty. So that is when African parents scold you in public. Okay. The second annoying thing that African parents do is trying to be your designer. You know, when you just wear this like super cute outfit and like maybe it's a crop top and like some skinny jeans and your parents are like, "Where's the rest of your top? Auntie, where's the rest of your top?" And you're like, "This is the top." And they're like, "No, go upstairs, go change." And then you go upstairs and like you change and you're wearing like a skirt that's like a little bit higher than your knees and like a long sleeve shirt. And they're like, "Auntie, your skirt is too short. Walk up." So you go back and you go change. Then, like, in the middle of your changing, they come upstairs and they give you something to wear, and that's what you have to wear out the house. And it's, like, usually the ugliest thing ever. And you're just like, why? I'm old enough to dress myself. Why? They really think they understand the current trends, but they don't get it. And they're always trying to change you to make you dress however they want you to dress, but you're just like, "But I don't want to." Like, they don't understand. They just need to stop. Third thing that's annoying that African parents do is giving you chores. Now, it's important that every child grows up doing some chores because you don't want to grow up and live in your own house and not know how to clean. But African parents take it to another level, take it to a new extent. To the point where they're like, "Oh, are you doing anything?" And you're like, "Yeah, I have an assignment." And they're like, "Oh, you can put the assignment off. Come and clean the dishes and mop the floor." And you're like, "Okay, but Kojo is sitting there not doing anything. So why do I have to come and do the dishes?" And then your parents will be like, "Oh, are you talking back?" And you're just like, "No, I'm coming." And you go and do the dishes anyways. But it's really frustrating because you have an assignment to do and your sibling is sitting there and not doing anything. And it's usually the younger sibling. Me being the younger sibling, I still have to do work because now that my brother is older and in university, they're always like, "Oh, your brother has work to do. He needs to be free, so you should come and do the dishes." And you're like, "Okay, but I also have work to do." Like, I always have work to do. Anyways, that is when your parents give you too much chores. The fourth annoying thing, this one is like really, really annoying, is African parents always comment on your weight. Always. Like, it's just a common thing between all African parents, aunties, uncles. If they're African, they will comment on your weight. If you are too skinny, they'll be like, "Oh, you don't eat enough food. You don't eat no banku, no fufu, no dok, no." And you're like, "Okay, but I do. I just work out." So, like, it's really frustrating because now they're coming for you for being skinny. Then, if you go and you gain a little bit of weight, they'll be like, "Wow, you've been eating too much. You are gaining weight. You're not fat. You need to go and work out. You are gaining too much." And you're like, "Last week you said I was too skinny. This week you're saying I'm too fat." Like, I don't understand why you have to come for me. Like, I could come for you too, but I'm not going to because I respect my elders. And you all should too. But like, I don't understand why they always need to come for us and like our weight, and like if I'm skinny, like maybe I just have a higher metabolism. That's why I'm skinny. It's not because my parents don't feed me. It's not because I don't eat. Like, I eat. I just happen to, like, you know, work out as well and not put on weight. So, the fifth annoying thing African parents do is confuse us children. And this one is specifically when they're paging you. So they'll be paging you and they say something that's like a question, but it sounds almost rhetorical, so you don't answer. And then they're like, oh, so you're rude, so you don't know how to talk, you don't know how to answer. And you're like, when you're yelling at me, like, I really don't want to say anything before I offend you. But then they'll be paging you again, and then they say something, and then you answer, and now you're disrespectful because you talk back. But you're like, okay, last week you said that I don't know how to talk because you asked me a question and I didn't answer. This week I'm answering your question, but now I'm disrespectful because I talked back. Like, choose one. If you're gonna ask me a question, you better expect an answer. Simple. That's what it is. The next annoying thing that African parents do is trying to choose your future. Now, for all my Africans out there, you know what the 3 careers are that they want all their children to become: doctor, lawyer, or engineer. And sometimes you're like, but mom, I'm a really good singer. I think I'm gonna pursue a like side career, not main career, side career in singing. And they're like, do you think singing will get you anywhere? Do you think you are going to get money? I'm like, okay, but your favorite singer pursued a career in singing, no? And they're getting their money, no? So like, I even said it's a side career, like it's not my main career. And like they're always like, oh, I just want the best for you, because you know, when I was in high school, we used to have to walk 200 miles to get to school. And you're like, that's not even realistic. Like, oh my gosh. And they over exaggerate the truth. They're like, when I was in high school, we used to have to walk 200 miles to get to school. Then we get to school late and the teacher will slap you. And then you have to go outside and cut the grass with the cutlass. Not even one mower. You guys are spoiled in this country. I just want the best for you because I don't want you to struggle like me. And you're like, I understand that you don't want me to struggle like you, but I didn't say that, oh, I'm only gonna do singing, or I'm only gonna do acting. Like I said, I'll do that on the side. And if it happens to be so successful, then I'll continue to do it. But I didn't say that I'm not gonna do that. And what makes you think that doing singing and acting can't make you successful? African parents, answer that. Well, number 7 is when they compare you to other people. I swear, like, African parents just can't appreciate the fact that everyone is their own person. They just think, like, we should all be replicas of each other. And, like, what's crazy is that you're comparing me to Cousin A, but Cousin A's parents are comparing Cousin A to me. Like, I don't understand. It's like, you guys should just swap children then, no? Because they're always comparing you to someone else whenever you do something. Like, why? Why can't I just be me? Like, why do I have to be like Jimmy? Why do I have to be like Adjoa? Why can't I just be Emberlyn? I don't know. Number 8 is when they overreact. And they overreact a lot. And an example of this would be like, you're making your food, right? So maybe there's like a little bit of crumbs on the counter, but you already cleaned the entire kitchen, but you're making your food and there's crumbs on the counter. Then your parents will walk in and say, oh, you always make an extra mess. The entire house is dirty. Now you have to go clean the house. And you're like, it's literally like 3 crumbs. Like, I could just pick it up and put it in the garbage. And they're getting mad because, like, there's 3 crumbs on the counter, even though you just finished cleaning the entire house. Like, overreacting? Yes, they do that. 9 is dating issues. African parents do not want their children to date until they are in university and like they graduated university or whatever, but it's really annoying because like they're always like, oh, boys are a waste of time, you shouldn't be focusing on boys, yada yada yada. And you're like, okay, but did you not date? They're like, oh, I don't want you dating until you're 21. I'm like, I'm sure you dated when you were 12. Like, I don't understand. And then if you get into a relationship, like, then they're gonna be making fun of you and they're gonna be keep mentioning and saying things that are really annoying, and you're just like, okay, it's enough. Like, can you stop? You have no respect for me? Is that what we're doing? Like, I don't get it. Like, African parents, they're just something else. At this point, they're just something else. They act like they've never dated anyone. I'm like, did you not date my father? Like, before you get married, do you not date? So, like, I don't understand. And they're like, oh, I just don't want you to make the same mistakes I did. I'm like, okay, but if you don't let me make the mistakes, I'm not gonna learn from them, and I'll go and end up making them, but later in my life. So shouldn't I make them now? So then later in my life, I'll be more successful? No? Okay. And the last thing that African parents do that is very, very annoying is they always think they're right, even though they're not. Like, they could be so wrong. For example, oh my gosh. Okay. For example, you know, we're all in quarantine, and African, like, at first they were saying quarantine. So I go and correct my mom, and I'm like, Mom, it's quarantine, not quarantine. And she's like, oh, are you rude? Are you disrespectful? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you're always correcting me. Like, I'm your mother. You shouldn't be correcting me. I should be correcting you. And I'm like, okay, I was just letting you know that it's quarantine. And they're like, this relates to number 8. They overreact. Like, it's such a small issue. Like, all I said was that, oh, it's quarantine, not quarantine. And they're like, oh, so now you think you know everything? Now you think you're smarter than me? I'm like, I never said that. Like, all I said was that it's quarantine, not quarantine. That is the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like it, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below other annoying things that African parents do. If there's enough comments, we'll make a part 2. And yeah, make sure you guys follow us on the socials. They'll be linked in the description below. And we'll see you in the next one. Deuces.